This is the Tuesday, March 22nd, 2016 meeting of the East Long Meadow Board of Assessors. It's 4:30 in the afternoon. The Board of Assessors office right now is empty because there's a major reconstruction project going on in the town hall. And so we are located in what might be called swing space in the town hall conference room. And we will be here until the construction and reconstruction of our office area has been completed. Diane, would you discuss how that went?
Just wanted to let the board know that yesterday they moved us, and I can't say enough to our building facility manager and his crew, Bruce Spini, and the DPW workers, and Ryan Quinby and his crew. They relocated us, got us all hooked back up to phones, computers. They went above and beyond. They were absolutely marvelous. So I do want to commend them for their efforts.
Well, thanks to them. And the meeting is being recorded by LCAT and also by ourselves for our minutes, and otherwise it's not being recorded. The first agenda item is to review the open and executive minutes from the meeting of March 1, 2016.
Mr. Chairman, I have reviewed and read the minutes for both the open session and the executive session of March 1st, and I found them to be in order as to content and presentation, and I move that they be approved as submitted.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is to review and sign the motor vehicle excise commitment 2 warrant in the amount of $160,371.34. This is mostly for new cars since the main billing that went out.
That is correct. We have already got this file over to the collector's office. We were a little concerned, didn't know if we would be down as we were being relocated, and so they have the file and they're ready to send bills.
I know I got 2 bills from the first billing, and a few other people will be getting bills from this commitment.
Also in with that bill, you did pass on the notice to the
Yeah,
accountant.
we want to review the notice to the accountant. We have to make it we have to formally notify concerning what's been committed, so that it can be put on the town book. The next item is to review and sign a rollback tax for the property coming out of 61B.
And this is tentative. We are waiting for a property to go up, to actually transfer. The Board of Selectmen did sign off saying that they did not want to purchase. This is the property rear of Pease Road, and it is on the Connecticut-Mass line with no access to Mass. So this is being prepared that if they start requesting it, it covers us through fiscal 16.
But it's very possible that this tax will not be collected because because of their filings.
If the sale falls through, or if the new owner decides to keep it in 61A, but from the information that I've gathered, the sale is supposed to be happening in the very near future, and they are going to change the use of the land.
So there will be a rollback if they change the use of the land.
Right. I'm just trying to be on
Get it?
Okay.
proactive here.
So if and when they do it.
I have a question. What date did we use? Did we use through June 30th of this year?
Yes,
Okay.
because they've already received the benefit, so
Yeah.
it would be that rollback. If we find we go into the next fiscal year, then that will become null and void, and we will update it.
Okay.
Are there any further questions on the rollback tax issue?
No.
No.
Okay, the next agenda item is the LA3 report. This is for January? No, this is for February.
This is for February.
And this concerns the sales which occurred during February.
Mm-hmm. And you should have that on your file.
Now this is the LA3 report, which is an official report at the DOR. It's subject to change, of course, because every so often we find out new information about a sale that's happened. But this is the February report as it stands on this date.
In referencing the sales report, I did attend the certification workshop that the Department of Revenue put on last Wednesday down in Springfield. And I brought back a whole packet for Diane's information on how they're changing some of the things in Gateway. And she's been also instrumental in learning about what they call the LA3 macros to analyze the sales, particularly when you go into a certification year. So they really haven't changed the regulations, but they're just tweaking a little bit the way things are submitted.
The technology has changed, but there's no substance in the rules.
Right.
And this is again about, the Gateway is again about making this an official state report at the state level.
Exactly.
Couple things that I did note is on the LA3s, they're going to be asking us to include the loc ID, which is the latitude, longitude, so it can link to the state GIS.
Yeah.
And also, for omitted and revised assessments, we are going to be required to either say, yes, I have something to submit, or
Right.
no, I have nothing to
Right.
submit at this point, so.
Yeah.
I read through it, and there was a couple other little things. But
Yeah, just, minor changes.
And
so.
it sounded like they were going to be preparing local assessors to start being prepared to do telegraph values.
Yes. Yes. I'm
Yes.
not
Well, the
too-
state has always done the telegraph values in the
Not
past.
too enthused about that,
Yeah.
yeah. Putting more responsibility on our offices.
Right. So we do have our LA3, and the board can see that the values are kind of high and low. If there is anything, any sale that the board has knowledge of, on one that's high or low, if you could just let me know and I can further investigate. Sales letters have gone out, but not everyone gets back to us in a timely manner, so I can't always determine if there's something unusual about the sale.
Yeah, the second one from the bottom's got a pretty low ASR.
And I've actually been to that property. It's a much older property, and they've
Yeah.
just done some modernization, but again, a lot of our older properties with a lot of depreciation,
Mm-hmm,
they're still selling higher.
yeah. That's gotta be revisited at some point.
How about the U code?
The U
We have
code,
to do that?
the U code is not an arm's length sale, but that we're going to discuss that particular sale in executive session.
Yeah, it will affect, other things that we have to take under consideration.
Correct. But as far as I know, and I could be wrong, they're usually not on the multiple listings, but this one possibly could be.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if it was, Marty?
No, but I mean, we've discussed this before. In my purposes, it's definitely arm's length.
I'm sorry?
It's
It's,
definitely arm's length sale.
Oh, I do agree that it is an arm's length, or I feel it is an arm's length.
Right.
But I have a concern because it's not out on the open market.
Yeah.
That a certain group
Well,
of
MLS,
people.
we've had this discussion before. MLS doesn't make it an open market.
Okay.
Could be for sale by owner.
Okay.
Builder's own lot, something like that.
I have no further questions or comments.
Are there any further questions or comments on the LA3?
Nope.
Okay, the next thing, we have to review and sign the staff authorization to process excise abatements. This concerns the auto excise tax.
Correct. As we all know, that we did hire a new employee after one of our employees retired, And in the past, the board has approved or authorized the staff to be able to process the cut and dry abatement applications so we can expedite the process for the taxpayers. And so we have updated the list.
Mm-hmm.
We've updated a few people who have changed their names.
Ah. Yeah, the auditors like to see that.
Right.
At the bottom, at that.
Yeah, you're at the bottom.
Million likes
Only
that.
for a little while.
There's quite a bit of this abatement activity as people sell cars and things of that nature.
Yes, there are. We have been, I think in the first week, maybe 10 days of the tax bills going out, we had already done 126 of them. I was quite surprised how fast they were coming in.
Okay, then we have to review the February building permit report.
I didn't see that on my
I don't have it
screen.
on mine either.
Well, that's because you got it in hard copy because it came, it got accomplished at like 3:35 on Friday afternoon.
It was one of these
Okay.
swing space accidents.
So we knew it was going to be on the agenda, I just was not able to get the copy. And there were no new buildings for the month of February, so we're still at holding one new dwelling year to date. And there were 7 new solar projects, and we're up to 13 for the first 2 months of 2016.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this one here, to me, in my mind, is questionable, because that's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th up from the bottom. It states repairs of $80,000, but that's a relatively new property.
I believe it was fire damage.
Okay,
That'll do it.
Yep.
okay.
I just saw something come through on that.
Are there any further comments on the building permit report, noting, except to note that the solar continues to be very active. And
Amazing, huh?
if the solar puts it on, if they put it on the roof and they own both the house and the solar, it's tax exempt for 20 years under current statute.
They're starting to promote buy instead of lease on the commercial now. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Oh,
Just heard that.
because of the taxes,
Oh, okay.
because it's not exempt for commercial.
so before we jump into correspondence, I just had a couple other things I wanted to just touch base with the board.
Mhm.
We were asked, each town department was asked to do an inventory of items in their offices. We received some conflicting information, and so we did have a meeting. This was due in on March 9th, but the meeting was actually held on March 9th. This was prepared for the board last week, but we had to cancel due to our lack of quorum. So I just wanted to let the board know, or to show the board what I have prepared. Originally, it went out that we only had to declare items that are $300 or more, and we only had to declare items that we were, that we had in our office.
Mr. Gretchen,
It may be,
pass it on.
All right, sorry.
it may be IT's responsibility. Most of our items were already on IT's inventory list. A few items that are IT's responsibility did get on our list because they were not on the IT list. So what I have done is just prepared this. I should have had it in like a week and a half ago. This is going to be turned into the town administrator, and the town accountant will be CC'd. throughout that meeting, we also heard that maybe if we wanted to just inventory all items, because it doesn't really matter if it's $100 or $300. So I have started to do that, especially as our office is moving. It's gonna give me a good idea of, keep track.
Yeah.
So this is going to be my submission for our office, and I am going to continue to do basically a personal property rendition that we require all of our businesses to do. But I just wanted the board to be aware that this was going in on behalf of our
If
office.
the guy with an office, with a business office of his own, has to put it on the report, we have to put it on the report.
Mm-hmm. Yep, yep. So that's what I wanted to add on.
All right, great.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, one other.
Yeah.
So sorry. I was notified, and some of you may have heard through the appropriations, that our supplemental mapping budget was approved for fiscal 17. I do believe that the chairman stopped into our office and told me, and I may have shared with a board member or two in passing. Jim Broderick, who's our liaison, stopped in today to make sure that I was aware of it. So we do have a mapping budget in our supplemental budget for fiscal
So
17.
that budget, which was in the DPW, is now in our department.
A small amount of that, yes, just to
Yes.
cover the mapping.
Wonderful.
Sorry.
We're grateful to the Appropriations Committee for that.
Yes, yes.
Something we're responsible for.
Mhm.
Okay, now we have correspondence on a Conservation Committee reorganization. Any comments on that?
Nope. Got a new restaurant coming, it's good.
Well, that has nothing to do with the
And-
Conservation
And
Commission.
solar panels in the industrial park.
And then we have three planning board decisions. One of them involves a large solar project on a commercial building.
Mhm.
And the other two don't appear to be something that would affect this office, other than to trigger the usual form of list and that kind of thing.
Correct. And late this afternoon, I did receive a memo from the Board of Selectmen's office, which informs us of the Board of Selectmen's reorganization at their last meeting.
Yes.
Just letting you know.
No
Yes.
further comments?
Any, no further?
Second motion.
Not- Okay, now, are there any old business or new business?
Chris, old business?
I don't believe so.
Okay,
And no new business either.
then I move that we go into executive session for several items. There are statutory exemptions and pending exemptions to be reviewed, things like the veterans exemptions. You got there's an application for statutory exemption and a charitable organization. There are still some abatement applications from the billing at the beginning of the year that are not settled. And we have appeal notices on several cases at the Appellate Tax Board. And there's a consultant contract issue.
I'll second that motion.
I move that we will go into executive session for those purposes, and we will not be coming back into open session. Second.
Yes, sir.
Second.
Second.
This requires a roll call vote. Mrs. Saulnier?
Yes.
Mr. Grudgeon?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston? Yes.